Hey, it's Emily, and it's been well over a year since I did my last gaming shelf tour, sharing all the various games and other gaming memorabilia sitting on the shelves behind me. So I figured we're due for an update and share all the various changes I've made within the past year or so. I've been using these shelves for the last couple years now, and I think they're perfect to house both my games and all my gaming related items. And I think overall, I still have plenty of room to expand my collection, but within the past year or so, I have taken some things out, believe it or not. And that's kind of centers around my whole curation philosophy, where I really like to just house all the games I love and have great memories with, as well as ones I'm really excited to play. So I'm going to take you now bit by bit around these shelves, starting with the left-hand side of how everything is kind of formed together here. Now I do have this trail scroll right on the left of my shelves along where my window is, so there's actually no natural light hitting any of these items. And at the top here are 4 of my steelbooks for the Trails games. I like to display them this way just so they're outward facing, but if I want to, I can use that space for games in the future. Over here now is my Vita collection, and I do have a few pop-up parades here, both from Hades as well as the Somnian Files, where this IBA came from that PS4 collector's box. Now I have my Vita boxes in the back there, and down here are my games. You'll notice I have a lot of JRPGs and visual novel games for the most part, a couple exceptions. It's a fairly small Vita collection, all things considered, but I'm really happy with the games I do own, and I might add a couple more in the future. Below that, it's kind of a miscellaneous shelf. Here's my very small PSP collection, all JRPGs that I'm hoping to add to in the future. Here's my Siri figure from Kotobukiya's Bishojo line. I also have the Avowed Steelbook back there. And to the left of everything are all of my other handhelds, mostly Game Boy and Game Boy Advance. I have my Analog Pocket and PSP there. Here are some sleeping and gachapons I got in Japan of Pokemon, and my very small Game Boy Color and Game Boy Advance collection back there. I want to figure out a new way to display everything here nicely. I want to get some stands and some way to house my Game Boy games, but that's for the future. Now, as we make our way towards the center of this main shelf, I have a few different display areas of certain franchises I love, and I'm going to start with the Atelier shelf first. So I've greatly simplified the shelf. I used to have a bunch of different Nendoroids from the Atelier lines and all that, but right now I just have 3 of the collector's edition boxes and this Ryza figure that was one of my first figures I ever owned, and this is from her Ryza 1 game. And that plush there is from the Yumiya collector's edition. To the right is not exactly gaming related, though I do have the One Piece Odyssey steelbook back there, but this is my kind of little One Piece shelf area. This is a fan-made book that's a One Piece Fire Emblem inspired collaboration, and then up front are all the Nyan cats from Mega House. And then I have this Robin figure pre-time skip, and she's one of my favorite characters in One Piece, and then just some other various things that I picked up for my travels and just collecting One Piece. Now below this is my Final Fantasy VII little area, mostly just housing the remake items. So I have 2 of the collector boxes, so Final Fantasy VII Remake and Rebirth, and the left one is the Best Buy exclusive steelbook. The other 2 came in the collector's editions, and this is my only Final Fantasy figure of Cloud. I think this is the plate arts, the ones that don't look as realistic that I really like. I'd like to get Zack's sometime soon. That's coming out. And back there is the Insomnia Cookies slipcover collaboration they had when Rebirth came out last year. And to the left is my Metaphor Refantagio shelf, mostly just containing the items from the Metaphor Collector's Edition that's here. And then I also have a couple items from the press kit, like that postcard up there, as well as to the left of the steelbook and the teeth pins. I have that pin set of some of the prominent party members and that keychain. So for right now, that's kind of the center display areas. This may be subject to change in the future, but let's go to the right-hand side. And so this area reflects or mirrors what's on the left-hand side there. And at the top, we have the more recent Kaseki steelbooks, displayed. I don't know what I'll do once Beyond the Horizon comes out next year. And then my 3DS collection here, which I did thin down a bit. I kept all the JRPGs. I have all the Atlas games up top here, along with some of the larger boxes like One Piece Romance Dawn. And as we go through here, you'll notice there's still a lot more JRPGs from other publishers, as well as some other adventure games like the Professor Layton and some other kind of prominent Nintendo IPs. But I did kind of remove some of the farming simulator games and other ones that I felt like I would never probably get to. Below here now are my Mega House Digimon lookup figures. So there are 2 of them there, as well as my small DS collection with more Professor Layton, some Zelda, and some more JRPGs. And I do have my long boxes for my 3DS games. In the back here, I'll proudly displayed the Etrian Odyssey one, I think is the newest one, as well as a 2DS and regular DS there. Now on the lower rung here are my PS5 games and PS4 games for the most part. You'll notice there are some visual novels on Switch that are here. And I also have a few more figures like some of these other gachapon Pokemon figures, another look up Digimon, and this Preenie Square plush from the Skyra 1 Complete Collector's Box. And here are all of my PS5 games, which are ordered by genre. So I have a visual novel at the end there, and some platformers and action games. But for the most part, you see a lot of RPGs or JRPGs. And I still would like to grow my PS5 collection quite a bit. So there's plenty of room to grow, I would say, on the shelf. I'll just have to move the figures and those Switch visual novels out of the way. But lots of room for expansion. Now moving to the other side, here are my PS4 games. Again, mostly JRPGs, sorted loosely by publishers and franchise, of course. And for the most part, I don't think there are many more PS4 games I need to add to this collection. Now there's a couple more. I want to get the Lunar HD remasters on here physically, and maybe some more Steelbook editions like we see here on the left. But for the most part, I'm pretty happy with the state of my PS4 collection, maybe outside of some kind of obvious games that are exclusive on the PS4 that are not JRPGs. Below here now are some more kind of little cubbies and my Switch collection. The first little cubby is my Honkai Star Rail little area. And I do have the PS5 box that I know does not contain the game on the disc, but I had to get it. And I have all of these different various merch that I kind of mostly bought when I was traveling in Shanghai and everything was really cheap. And I do have the voice actor of my favorite character in the game so far. Now below that are all of my soundtracks and also the plug to one of my lights there. But this is also kind of like a temporary area that may be subject to change if I want to maybe have more of a certain franchise being kind of displayed. And I have some other areas in my room that I could move my soundtracks to, along with potentially my Star Rail stuff could also move elsewhere in my room. And onto the Switch collection, which is quite expansive with the 4 different shelf areas, and about each of these single shelves contain 48 Switch games, so I have just under 200 Switch titles in general. On the upper left one, I have a lot of my Nintendo first-party IPs here with Zelda and Pokemon. And as we make our way towards the left, there are more JRPGs here. Mostly by Bandai Namco, Koei Tecmo, and some other kind of various publishers, along with some other genres as well, like Metroidvania and whatnot. Right below that are mostly indie games. Some of them are from limited publishers, whereas some of them are more retail publishers. And I also have different regions, like the Center Spine ones are from the EU, and some limited run games and other slipcover and special box games for the most part. These special boxes take up quite a bit of room, unfortunately, so I have them stored this way for now. And right on top is the Xeno Tarot card deck that's a fan-made project. And now to the right-hand side are some more games, starting with the bottom, I guess, are more of my sort of narrative-driven, both visual novel and kind of adventure kind of games. And there's also some JRPGs and indie games thrown in here as well. So I guess it's more of a hodgepodge of various different games from different publishers and also different regions, because there's a lot of imports in here as well. Now, as we go up to the top, here are kind of the prominent JRPGs in my collection from a lot of the big publishers that I love, like a lot of the NIS titles here with their The Legend of Heroes, Trails games, and Ys. The Falcon games also have other publishers, so you'll see Exceed and some of the other ones nestled in there as well. There's some niche titles, and then we have all of the first-party Nintendo RPGs that I have right now. So Xenoblade and Fire Emblem, and then some Atlas and other Square Enix sort of titles here towards the end of this shelf. So we're now going to make our way to the other display little areas, both of them housing my Ys collection. I unfortunately had to split it up because of those figures are so massive from Kotobukiya. We have Donna from Lacrimus of Donna, Ys 8 here, a really stunning figure. And behind her are various different modern Ys games and some items I've just picked up, either from the collector's editions or like that bookmark was from AX, along with that lenticular card was also from AX. And then some of the chibi figures I have of Ys and Memories of Salsetta on the PS4 collector's box. Now below that, I have the other Kotobukiya Ys figure. So this is also Adol from Ys 8. And another great, very highly detailed 1/7 scale figure. And we have the, I guess, most recent Ys game back there, and the Ys 8 Collector's Edition, where I had a little trouble figuring out how to pose everything with the steelbook there and those standee acrylic bookends. But overall, I'm kind of okay with how these are displayed. I might have to change things in the future. But now to the center bottom of my shelves with my lone Switch 2 game here, Rune Factory, Guardians of Azuma. And I'm not anticipating this collection to be too big. So right now it is sharing space with my Nintendo Switch Steelbooks, with my favorite games being mostly frontally displayed, along with some of the other ones I have there. If I want to, I could definitely make more room and move the steelbooks elsewhere. But here is my PS2 collection that has greatly expanded recently after going to Midwest Gaming Classic last April. And I also have integrated some of my childhood games I still have boxes for, with Xenosaga right there, proudly displayed, and there's room for growth if I don't want to display it, as you can see here. So we made it through the bulk of my game collection, but I still have some of the larger collector boxes at the very top of these shelves. So we'll start on the left-hand side. So I have the Sword and Fairy Together Forever box, Baldur's Gate 3, some Otome games, and RPG games like Rune Factory here. I do want to get Guardians of Azuma at some point. That's on the Switch. Ori is right here in the center with the stained glass showing. That is a fan-made Xenoblade 2 acrylic standee with some Otome boxes, Transistor, and Psychonauts 2. And then we're going to now get into my plush collection. And you can see a couple other collector's editions in the back there that are kind of hidden by the plushes. But these are mostly Pokemon. I do have some other game characters, but it's not all just limited to games. I have also like One Piece, some K-pop, and some Studio Ghibli plushes. But over here now is my Zelda shelf, which I think is new since my last update. I moved it up top and added both of these first 4 figures of Link here and Zelda on the side. And I think these do also light up, but I didn't put batteries, or I kind of just left them as is. They're not the best scale figures, but these were just the ones I wanted of Link and Zelda. And there's my first ever 3DS with the Link Between Worlds edition, my favorite game of all time, A Link to the Past on the GBA, and some other various boxes that are Zelda-like. This is my K-pop collection, which we won't go through today, but that is what's on the other side here if you're curious. But some of my gaming stuff has flooded onto the side, like the Phantom Brave Lost Hero Collector's Edition and my Lunar HD Remaster press kit, which thankfully you can actually get all the items from this press kit now through Gung Ho. So that was really cool that they made that now publicly available. Definitely check out Gung Ho's website if you are not aware. So the last bit of this shelf tour is this corner shelf, which houses a lot of items from my favorite franchises that are, of course, JRPGs here, starting with my Xenoblade little area. I have all the scale figures from Good Smile Company, and my newest addition is Mio from Xenoblade Chronicles 3 here. And I think her scale figure turned out very lovely and was much more affordable than all the other ones for whatever reason. And there's Cosmos back there, Nia from Xenoblade Chronicles 2, along with Pyra and Mithra, and their iconic little pose here. And I will say the detail to all these figures are really nice. So I do recommend them if you are a Xenoblade Chronicles fan. And unfortunately, Melia is back there. I need to find some sort of acrylic blocks or something to help rise them. So my figures in the back don't totally disappear. And then I have the collector's edition in the back. And down here is the Monado little blade thing I got last time I was in Japan. Now to the right of my little Xeno shelf is the start of my Trails collection, which takes up the bulk of this corner shelf here because it is my favorite series of all time, starting with these little Nendoroid Petite figures, some of the characters, and then I got the entire set of the 20th anniversary standees displayed on this little tier shelf. I'll have it linked in my video description if you're curious. It's like perfect for displaying these acrylic stands, and I have the 20th anniversary block of Estelle and Joshua and the Mishi and Baron plush, and I do have Estelle's English voice actor signature on some fan art. And then these are the two 1/7 scale Trails figures I have. This first one of Altina in her Black Rabbit suit, and then Elisa. These are both done by the QuestQ manufacturer, and they are greatly detailed and very nice. I'm not sure if they're going to do more, but if they do, I would gladly buy them. As you'll see here, I've purchased a lot of Trails figures, and I kind of strive to get all the characters because there's something about the Trails franchise where you kind of fall in love with all the characters. And this little area here on the left is, I guess, the newest piece to the shelf with Estelle and Joshua. They are the main two characters in the first arc of the Trails franchise, Trails in the Sky, and will also be featured in the upcoming remake this fall, Trails in the Sky First Chapter, which is a great way to experience these games if you haven't already. Behind there are my PS Vita Japanese editions of those games, and here are the figures from the Crossbell duology, along with all the other localized collector's editions that I have from NAS America as well as Xseed. And there are also some other items that I picked up. There's a lot of merch you could get in Japan, such as this pocket watch here of an Orbment by Super Groupies. That features the orbital technology featured in the game, and also is what inspired my YouTube name. Then to the right are my Class 7 figures from the same Kotobukiya line of figures from Trails, starting with Fi here. And then we have another Altina figure and an Emma figure with Reen in the back and Crow right next to him. And behind them are my pin box pins. So these are from the first line when they had the really cool custom boxes. So I kind of have a wall of them behind there. And as we make our way to the next lower shelf, you'll see more Trails items. And also more pin box pins, which I'll get to in a moment. So on the left here are my Daybreak items. So I have a model kit at the Grendel there, and the two Daybreak collector's editions that are out with some various merch and acrylic things, like Van here eating sweets, and Anais, and some other Anais art. So that came bundled with their art book. and a collaboration with Sanrio, some Tokyo Xanadu, because it fit there. And those are 2 model kits that I put together that are related to the Cold Steel arc. Then I have the Ouroboros art prints of those characters from the Trails series. Those are the new pins I have from Pinbox with their new box design and some other Trails related things with Nyota Boundless Trails right there in the corner. So plenty of room for expansion, and more figures that I have on pre-order will be going there. Now, last but not least is my Fire Emblem display area with various figures, collector boxes, and art books. So starting on the left side, it's probably one of my favorite figures in my collection is Cordelia from Fire Emblem Awakening. And her figure here, where she's stepping in water with the art book of Awakening right behind her. And then there's Tharja from Awakening as well. I do have the new Lucina figure on pre-order that will also be going around this area at some point. And then I have my Fire Emblem Fates Special Edition 3DS box with Corrin right in front. Nor edition. It's very stunning. And then we have some classic Fire Emblem here with Marth and some of the collector's editions that are available on the 3DS as well as the Switch. And right in front of the Three Houses collector's box is Byleth's scale figure. There are a lot more scale figures of Fire Emblem, but these are kind of the ones I decided to go with. And we have Lynn here from the first localized Fire Emblem that we got here in the West. Also one of my favorite figures. And then we also have Ike's figure here, which I really want to play his game. And once it's on the NSO and I have a Switch 2, I'm excited to finally get to it. But yeah, this is the Fire Emblem shelf, and I'm looking forward to expanding it in the future. And a view of the entire corner shelf here, full of cool items. And to close out my video for today, I hope you guys enjoyed this updated shelf tour. And if you're interested in the shelves I used in these, I do have a link in the description box. I just got them off of Amazon, but I think they're great for housing video games and other merch-related items. And they just make, I think, a very eye-catching display. And a quick update on the channel, I do plan on dropping new videos every week this summer, as well as doing lots of streaming. And I also recently opened membership tiers for those who are interested in supporting my channel. I won't be taking away content at all because of the memberships. The memberships are just there as some extra added perks for those who want to contribute and support the channel through those means. So I want to give an extra big thank you to those who have so far joined my membership tiers, and also a special shout out to my Ornament Architects, Dr. God. Thank you so much for joining, and until my next video, bye guys.